My mic is on, the right mic. All right, can you hear me now? All right, we have sound. I'm glad I did a sound check. I'm so glad I did a sound check because otherwise I would have been a very angry girl later on. I would have been quite upset. So, we are here and we are going to talk about the title is about Pinterest and Pinterest views being down. I mean, I really covered that pretty well on Friday. And the only thing is the information I gave as far as Pinterest views and quarterly performance, I goofed up. That was from 2023. They have not released third quarter information yet. That's not until November 7th. So, with that said, here we are. Here we are. It is Monday. I actually am a little more discombobulated than I expected to be, but that's okay. Just some personal things going on. But yeah, so Pinterest views are down for not only myself, but clients and huge influencers and creators. And on Friday, I shared a lot of the reasons why that is. Some of it is because of the election, right? And, it's not that political ads and political information can be found on Pinterest. They actually kind of dissuade from that type of content just because one of their branding cornerstones is they are a very positive and uplifting place to be. So they don't really get into the political mumbo jumbo, right? So, with that being said, it is about the election fatigue. I think election fatigue may have people checking in on social media just a little bit less. And I know that because I have heard from several of my peers that is how they look at it too. Like they are, if it weren't for social media and it being a part of how they, get leads and customers, they would pretty much leave social media. They wouldn't be on there. So they've been checking in less in the meantime. And I think others are just so addicted that they would rather check in a little less than what they normally do. Okay. So let's see here. Nope, wrong button. Looking for something. We'll worry about that later. Okay. So we talked about the election and how the election is impacting whether or not people want to be on social media and for how long they care to be on social media. It's a very real situation. The other thing to know is there are constant algorithm updates. And that's why I say that you should be the brand, right? My motto is I'm the brand, I'm the content, I am the algorithm. Okay. And so by that, I mean, I can pretty much beat any algorithm with brand consistency, with my own community, with my own content machine that I built that's across multiple platforms, right? So I can always beat the algorithm because I have set up a system that allows me. Oh my God, what does that sound like? That sounds like something else, don't it? That sounds like something else. But anyway, we're gonna stay on topic here. We're gonna stay on topic here. I can always beat the algorithm because of the system that I built that allows me the diversity, the flexibility, the malleability in order to be able to adjust, pivot, and turn on a dime pretty much, right? And I am the algorithm because people I'm not just creating content to appease the algorithm. I'm actually creating content to appease people. And that is what the algorithm is always ultimately held accountable to. Ooh, this is good. The algorithm is always ultimately accountable to the people, because no matter what the algorithm is serving up, at the end of the day, social media users have the ability, they have the right inherently to rebuke the social media app and stop using it and go and download or start using another platform. And very quickly, we've seen this happen with X, right? There was a lot of talk about Threads coming out with a bang and then kind of fizzling out, and Threads is picking up again because the people, a good number of the people, don't like the direction and the changes that have been made over there, right? So ultimately, like, you learn in a retail environment, and if you ever want to get a retail environment, you go in and you tell them and you talk about all about how you believe in serving the customer, and the customer is ultimately everyone's boss, but at the same time the company has financial obligations, including to pay you, and so you like to be a good balance between the two. Okay, just a little tidbit from me. Okay, so anyway, the algorithm is ultimately accountable to the people. And without the people, the algorithm has no people to serve content to. So that is why I say you are the brand, you are the content, you are the algorithm. So yes, the algorithms are constantly in flux and changing, and they had pulled back on this, and now I'm hearing it is back again, and that is to have more of a focus on Pinterest on video. So video, the fits your phone size video does pretty well over there. It will get you reach, right? And in Pin Profits Mastery Module 4, it comes with a workbook from me that actually includes a chart that lets you know whether you should create a static pin or a video pin, depending on what your intentions for the pin are in alignment with the customer buyer journey. So those that know, the girls that get it, they get it, right? They understand what I just said. So basically, what I just said is this chart, this table that is inside of a workbook that is exclusive only through Pin Profits Mastery, lets you know if your goal is to grow your following and grow your community and bring more buyers into the awareness that you even exist in the first place. This is the type of content that you create, right? If you are trying to take someone from being a lead to buying a low ticket offer, this is the type of content that you create, okay? Because it's really important when you're creating content that a lot of you are really upset and you think that the clock app doesn't work and short form video doesn't work, and it's because you keep creating the same type of content, which is usually the wrong type of content for conversions. Okay. It's not that you shouldn't create that type of content. It should not be the only type of content that you create. So that's why you end up growing a following and you don't get any conversions, because you are not creating conversion focused content. Imagine, imagine that. The reason you don't get conversions is because you don't create the type of content that converts. Now, it ain't just about creating that type of content. There are some other things that you need to do. And that is why I recommend either joining Pin Profits Mastery or scheduling a strategy session with me, and I can walk you through that. So the algorithm is again favoring video content. And the reason I just went on that whole tirade is because I talked about this on Friday. Video content does not convert that great on Pinterest. It is great for expanding your reach and getting in front of new people. And the name of the game with Pinterest and driving organic traffic to your offers, to your website, to your landing pages is that you need to hit a mass amount of reach, right? And so if you want to hit a mass amount of reach and you want to not only reach a lot of people, but you want to also begin to move people through the buyer's journey. What I'm hearing me say, and yes, I just did that. What I'm hearing me say is that you need to join Pen Profits Mastery. Okay. Because it's not and I didn't even come here to actually promote Profits Mastery, but it's not just about Pinterest. Okay. What you learn in Pen Profits Mastery can actually be used across multiple platforms, especially when it comes to short form video and shoppable video. Okay. But being in today's world, to sound like ChatGPT, in 2025, to sound like Tamara, you need to be able to know how to move people through the buyer's journey on social media. It is no longer optional. And people like me are becoming more and more expensive in order for you to be able to hire us. So some of you, unfortunadamente, en español, you've got to learn how to do it. You've got to learn how to do it. We're moving into a time period where, just like the employee thinking that their place of employment is the road to riches and their only form of income, and they need to learn and upskill and sales. Thank you so much, Queen Digital Mommy, for all the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And 111. Oh, look at that. And just like they can't put all of their eggs in that one basket, they need to upskill and learn new skills in order to be able to generate multiple streams of income. Things like sales and marketing, even for their job and their job search, are no longer optional. You have to have those in tow. You have to have that in tow, right? You have to have that in the back pocket. You have to have that in your hand in order to be able to compete. Okay. I think I just did a video about this last week, how most jobs these days, especially when it comes to the remote arena, have thousands of applicants. So you have to have both the hard skills, the soft skills, and more than both, you also have to have the work experience, because y'all thought that was going to make it easier. Y'all thought equivalent work experience applied to you. No, what equivalent work experience means to you is you actually have to have the experience. They're still going to hire people because of things like cronyism and nepotism who don't have the skills that you do, who don't have the experience that you do. They're still going to hire those people. You're still going to be competing with them, and it's going to be even more competitive now. Okay. So just think about that. Just think about that, right? So you have to understand that to compete when there are thousands of applicants, you've got to be able to sell yourself. You've got to have good marketing by your resume, your cover letter, even your social media presence. Social media presence is going to stop a lot of people from getting jobs in coming years. You watch and see. It already causes problems for people when they get a sizable social media, and even if they begin to monetize it, they end up with problems at the work front, the work home, because work is home for a lot of people, to be honest with you. That's You got to have sales and marketing skill. It's just not optional. And so much like the employee has to, the entrepreneur, it is no longer optional for y'all either to not have sales and marketing. And some of y'all, you might be able to pay and outsource it today. But as we get closer to 2030, yeah, I'm not so sure you're going to be able to keep affording to outsource it unless it is really, really doing a great job for you. The person or the team is really, really doing a great job for you, but they're going to keep eating up more and more of your budget. I can guarantee you that. Okay. I can pretty much guarantee you that, because digital marketing is a highly paid and in demand skill. It's a highly paid, expected to be 1.5 trillion by 2030. So think about that, right? So do you think the cost of someone like me is going to go up or down? And I don't care how much competition comes out there because you know what? I know my place. 30 years of sales, marketing, and leadership experience, double masters, bachelors, real world work experience. I can name drop. My social media speaks for itself. So I'm not worried about saturation or oversaturation. I'm not worried about that at all. Right? What I would be more worried about with 32 years of sales, marketing, and leadership experience is staying relevant. And y'all already know I stay relevant. Very, very relevant. I stay up to date. I stay up to speed. And I constantly am in the future. Where is this all going? Where is it going next? Where is it going next? Right? So I can tell you that sales and marketing are no longer optional. And you already are selling, you already are marketing. You are marketing. This is going to upset some of the girlies, but you are marketing when your husband's boyfriend mother comes over and you use that sweet voice and you are, faking for his mama. That's marketing. That's marketing. You know, when you make sure your house is extra clean and sparkling because she's coming over. And yeah, that's marketing. Especially the first time before y'all even married, right? When he first takes you to his mom's house, baby, you not only marketing, you are auditioning, you are interviewing, right? So you're already in marketing. You're in marketing when you do your resume and write your cover letter. You're in marketing. Your LinkedIn is marketing. Y'all already in marketing. Y'all just in denial about it. You're selling when you actively sit in the interview and your speech, your presentation, your hair, your clothes, your makeup, all of that is packaging, which is marketing. But then the way you answer the questions, your level of persuasion, and some of y'all be past y'all, some of y'all be failing the test. Y'all pass one test and fail a test at the same time. Okay. So you do a great job selling yourself and you get offered the position and you just accept the first offer and you don't negotiate, but you're in sales. You don't negotiate. You don't negotiate. You just take their first offer. Do you know how much that impacts not only your pay and your increases, but some of the people that hire you look at you strange because you didn't negotiate. You didn't negotiate because you were scared. What if they say no? You don't negotiate until after you have your offer in writing. Then you negotiate, right? Then you negotiate. But we're not going to get into how. But that's when you negotiate. Don't negotiate. Let them make the first offer, right? We're not going to get into, what to say when they ask your range and all of that because I'm not a career coach, but I am a salesperson. And a salesperson is going to negotiate that first offer. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. We're going to negotiate. Okay. So sales and marketing are no longer optional. Everybody's got to learn that. Whether you're an employee, a solopreneur, a creator, an influencer, sales and marketing are just no longer optional. You have to know those two skills, right? And so when it comes to Pinterest, if views are down, are you collecting leads? Because it's even more important when views are down that you're collecting leads because you're getting in front of fewer people. So, of those that you're getting in front of, you got to get better at converting them to at least a lead because they need to be a lead before they become a customer. Okay. So I hope it's sinking in. I hope you picking it up. I hope you catching it. Right. But if views are down, the number one thing you need to be focused on is your leads and converting more people to leads. Get them on your lead list. That's your first and foremost thing that you need to be worried about. Okay. So we talked about the election cycle, we talked about algorithm. There's also, honestly, as far as seasonal, this is when Pinterest is usually on the upswing. So I will say that my views are still up compared to late summer, like August, right? They are up. However, they're just not where they typically are. Okay. And so knowing that, I got to look at something else, right? I got to look at one more thing, right? And this is where I'm differing and correcting from Friday. And that is this. Okay. On Friday, we talked about Pinterest numbers and, how monthly active users. And unfortunately, I didn't realize it. I was quoting this quarter, third quarter 2023 data. They actually have not released the 2024 data because here's the thing. If third quarter is anything like the two previous quarters of 2024, active monthly users are up. So I would assume even if it's down over the quarter before, which it shouldn't be, and if it is, that's truly a reflection of other things happening. um so say it's at about 500,000, right? And you look at what it's even if it held steady, let's say it held steady with second quarter, because I believe it would do that more so than it would drop. You're still looking at 522 million monthly active users, which is still, I believe, at least about a 12% increase from the year before. And it's been on like consecutive quarters for a while of steady increase. With that in mind, it's more competitive. So if there's more people on the app, and like most apps, most people are consuming, they're not creating. That means there's both the potential for your content to get more views, but also for it to get less views, which is going to be more likely less views because as a platform, which are publicly traded entities, they have shareholders they got to account to. So they are going to be more likely to begin to withhold some of those organic views for paid advertisers. Okay. They're going to hold a chunk of those organic views for paid advertisers. So you've got increased competition, and now they're also carving out and holding some of that organic reach for paid advertisers. And that's what's happening. And so that's why we talked about on Friday, and I've had the conversation with several clients. Okay, might be time to start looking at some paid ads, buddy. Even though my clients mostly aren't buddy, they're mostly girly, right? So that's when you have to know that it might be time to run some paid ads. In Pinterest, return on ad spend, ROAS, Boaz and ROAS, I don't know, are they related? But ROAS it means your return on ad dollar spent. You want a low number, actually a high number. You want it to be a high number because it means that you're getting more reach for your spend. It's a measure of that. Like a dollar take $1. The dollar that reaches a million people is going to give you a higher return on ad spend than the dollar that reaches 10,000 people. Because I think I said a million first, right? So the dollar that reaches the same dollar, how far does it travel? Does it travel to a million people or does it travel to 10,000 people? That same dollar that traveled to a million people has a higher return on ad spend because you're getting more bang, more views for your buck. Okay. So I will pause and answer questions. Thank you for the follow. Okay. So your return on ad spend is going to be lower on Pinterest, right? I've for years said that Facebook has some of the best advertising opportunity out there because of the ROAS, the return on ad spend, but it has gone down, right? Your return on ad spend from Facebook has actually gone down over the years, right? So, because you have to spend more money to reach less and less people. Okay. And so that's why it's a good time to get in on Pinterest now if you want to run Pinterest ads, because it's going to still be low. You're not going to pay a premium for it like you would over on Facebook. Okay. And so Pinterest, also like Facebook, one of the reasons I've always loved Facebook was because of the data, the insane amount of data, most of which is not even shared to you, but their algorithm is really good at figuring out some things about your ideal client. And if you know how to work, first you got to know what key performance indicators, KPIs, to measure and track, and then what to do, whether they're high, low, or meeting what your goal is. Okay. And so Facebook, this data that they have and they know about their users is premier data. It is a marketer's dream. Okay. Do the marketers know that data? Again, I'm going to repeat, I am not saying that, but a good marketer does know enough about their ideal client that they can input certain things into Facebook ads and get right in front of their ideal client. Okay. Pinterest is more and more like that every year. They are investing heavily into their ad platform and the data and being able to be a full, because Facebook is also full funnel, meaning you can take anyone from a complete stranger and move them through the buyer's journey where they not only come out a customer, but they can also come out a net promoter. They can also come out an affiliate, a brand ambassador, so on and so forth. I love saying that. So on and so forth. Okay. So that is why I've been so hot and heavy on Pinterest. And it didn't just start last summer. I've been hot and heavy on Pinterest for nearly 10 years because it's always been the number one or number two source of organic traffic to my websites. There was a time when on the Pinterest platform, I was getting 3.5 million views a month on my content. And it wasn't beauty content. It was marketing and affiliate marketing content that was getting me 3.5 million monthly views. Right. I mean, it was some beauty content, but it was largely that because that beauty content had really fizzled out. Okay. So you have to understand that a couple things. Number one, I don't care who you are, you've got to learn sales and marketing. In fact, your income is going to go up drastically when you learn sales and marketing. Because number one thing you're going to do is you're going to negotiate. Okay, you're going to negotiate for you and your family. And if they don't give you money, they got other things they can give you. Ask me how I know. Okay. So you've got to learn sales and marketing. You've got to learn digital marketing. You've got to learn email marketing. You've got you got to learn content marketing and strategy. You got to learn branding and personal branding, right? And that is so important because a lot of people think they start a business by ordering business cards and getting a logo created. And yeah, that's cute, but it a business it does not make revenue, it does not generate. Okay? So you have to understand that it's not going to generate you revenue. And to get a business, I was going to say a building, to get a business off of the ground means your feet on the ground. means you reaching out and talking to people both online and offline, means you getting out of your comfort zone. And that is why we tell you that the number one skill is personal development. Personal development is the number one skill. Think about it. What did Jim Rohn say? Income will seldom exceed your personal development. What I just told you is an example. So if sales and marketing are no longer optional, they are necessary to live, right? Like they should be part of a high school diploma at this point. Okay. Sales and marketing are no longer optional, right? So if you eh, become invested in your personal development, you begin to pursue and learn personal development. I'm sorry, not personal development, but sales and marketing. And then you begin to actually apply what you learn. Are you or are you not more likely to increase your income? You're going to be more likely to increase your income. Period. Pooh. So your income will seldom exceed your personal development. And that, my friends, is the problem with the world. That's why people complain about jobs being lost to China and other places because they don't want to invest in themselves. They don't want to do the personal development. They want to stay right where they are. And I'm not judging because there are days where I want to stay right where I am too. But see, the difference is my fear is that if I stay right where I am sooner rather than later, and probably as quickly as possible, I'm going to be left behind. Because that is the problem. I just gave you a mouthful too. If you want to be behind the eight ball, stay right where you are. It's going to happen and it's going to happen faster rather than later. Do what it do. So, learning Pinterest when you're very comfortable on one platform is probably a good investment, especially when you learn from somebody who teaches it right, applies it right, and can help you win, like I did with my client, Martha, who was excited after a week to have 300 views and, monthly views. And then the next week it was at nearly 10,000. I think it actually peaked at like 11. And now it's down to about 6,000 because Pinterest views are down. And she's still figuring some things out between her and her VAs to get it done. But we blew her views right up and she's generating leads and, you know, things are heading in the right direction. She started out very confused and not sure if she could or should do Pinterest, but she invested in some one on one time where we worked together to optimize and strategize her Pinterest journey. And she started to see results right away. And after our first session, she saw it as something fun, something challenging, and that she couldn't wait to dive into. And then she reinvested. So there's that. Pinterest is important because of search engine optimization, the amount of organic reach that you can get, the fact that you can reach people with higher incomes. I mean, when I learned that Pinterest for sure had a segment for me that had higher incomes and higher education levels, I was about it. I was like, sign me up, right? Let's do this thing. Okay. The other reason I love Pinterest, it does not take a lot of my time. I do not have to be on there all day. Like if you are not one that wants to do engagement and be out there social politicking and that and building up that currency bank, then Pinterest is definitely the platform for you. However, it is a game of patience. It's a game of patience. But the upside to that game of patience is that you your pins will have a much longer shelf life. Your pins, whereas, a post on most platforms within a day or two, it's pretty dead, right? But Pinterest, like the clock app, is a search engine. And so that means like a video I had, I don't know, I think 2 or 3 years now, where I made collard greens around Thanksgiving, it gets right back into circulation every time this year. And not only does it get back in circulation, it stays in circulation until about guess when? Mid mid March, mid-April. Why is that? Turkey Day, Christmas, football season, Super Bowl, and Easter, right? Now, the truth is most of us that eat collard greens eat them year round, but you are going to be more likely to eat them between fall and spring, especially for those holidays. Sometimes we might bust out some greens for like Memorial Day or 4th of July if you celebrate Juneteenth like that. But other than that, you don't really see a whole lot of greens during the summer. Some of us just like them like that, so we might make them and eat them. But the gatherings, the holidays don't tend to center around things like baked macaroni and cheese and green collards and greens and that in the summer. Okay. So when we talk about seasonality, having content out there that is seasonally appropriate is always a good idea. In fact, one of the things I work with my clients on is we build a content plan and strategy in a way that the first year is the most intense. I like to say that instead of difficult, because it's going to be challenging, but so worthwhile, right? So we create that content so that it is evergreen and should hold in place for a good 2 years to 7 years, right? So the idea is we create a marketing campaign and strategy that has pillars and themes for each month, but still allot space for you to get in on trends and be relevant and current in what we can't yet see is going to be relevant and current. I mean, things like the Alabama Brawl. Like nobody could have put that on their bingo card for that August, right? So you can still have room in your content strategy for those things. But by and large, there are going to be certain things that happen in your marketing campaign every single year. Real companies, and I'm not saying we're not real company owners, but you know what I'm talking about when I say real. Major companies do this every single year. Every single year. Now, I don't watch much TV, so I don't know if McDonald's still does it. But back in the 90s, every year, like clockwork, McDonald's picked a blockbuster or two. If you don't know, that means a major movie release back when they were really, really major. They pick a major movie release and they collaborate and promo with them every single summer. The Monopoly game, I believe it was May, and I think they might have done one in the fall, but every single May, I believe it was May, they had the Monopoly game. McRib always came back during the earlier part of the summer, or maybe it was closer to Labor Day. I can't remember, but there was, it might even been October, but they strategically dropped that, right? So a lot, Victoria's Secret, their semi-annual sale every year, early May. Right? So you can create content around those annual things. And I recommend one for at least one for every month, 1 to 2 for every single month. Right. And so you will have the vast majority of that content already created. And there might be a handful of pieces come the next year that you want to update, freshen, correct, things like that. So your next year, you don't have to create as much content. You get to work smarter, not harder. Because even if there's content you want to update, freshen up, correct, you don't have to start all the way from zero. You can use some of the content that you already have and then just bada bing, bada boom, add to it. And now it's freshened, it's up to date, it's relevant, and it's timely. Work smarter, not harder. And in either case, you still have the room for the things that come up that were not planned for, that you can choose to or not choose to include in your strategy on a more timely and relevant basis. It's completely okay. It's completely okay. Y'all seen me do it for years. If you've watched my beauty content, baby, when I found a piece of content that was good and it converted, I ran that baby over and over and over and over and over again until it started to decline. Because I'm a good marketing strategist and tactician, right? So I know it's working. Why wouldn't I continue to keep running? See, y'all think y'all got it because it's just like with clothes and stuff. We always want to have the latest, and newest, and the greatest, and sometimes the latest, and newest, the greatest is already sitting in our closet. It's like sometimes y'all got to go back shopping in your own closet. Have you ever done that? I always clean my closet out twice a year, and every time I find something that I forgot about, and I'm just amazed by, or I find something like, you know what? If there's a reason I haven't worn this in the last 6 months, it got to go, right? And so that's what you have to do with your content too. You can't just throw it out because it was a good piece of content, but it got no traction the first time. It doesn't mean it's a bad piece of content. You might have posted it at the wrong time. You might have used the wrong caption. You might have used one word wrong in the caption. Those who know copywriting know, right? You may have made some other mistake, like maybe the thumbnail was not what you intended it to be, because that happens, right? I've had videos post when I wasn't even ready to post them, and sometimes I just let it ride because they might go viral. Not that viral is a strategy, but I'm ready for it always. Okay, so there, it doesn't mean that it's a bad piece of content. It means you just got to keep trying that piece of content. But baby, when I got a piece of content that I know is converting, it's going to convert for me again. And sometimes I don't use the exact same piece of content, but I learned from that piece of content what works, and I keep doing that over and over again also, right? Like I work hard, but I'm gonna work smart as I can too. Okay. So if I can keep using the same piece of content, not having to create content, or some of us who are true creators understand, always coming up with new stuff can be a bit challenging too. So again, if you can work smarter, not harder, and trying to figure out what is going to work and what isn't, what doesn't work, you know what does work and you do more of that. And it just makes it easy for you. You can go back and you can look at the, those, y'all know what Instagram accounts go look at. And you go look and you will see. You can see it on Facebook. You see it on my Facebook business page. You will see there's content that was strategically repeated, right? Carousels, reels, one picture posts on Facebook. There are certain things you can put into Facebook, certain key phrases, only I know them. You can put them into Facebook and Tamara Hamilton, Tamara Hamilton, Tamara Hamilton, Tamara Hamilton, Tamara Hamilton. And like 70% of them are pretty much copied and pasted. And the other 30% have a little bit of tweaks here and there. I'd use the same caption with no image. I use the same caption with a different image. I use the same caption with the same image. I use the same caption with a slightly modified image. When I need to post and I'm just not quite inspired that day, I just go back to my best performing content. or a piece of content that I want to test again and see if it will work. It's not that hard, y'all. It's not that hard. The main thing you got to know is that you can't be a one trick pony. And most of y'all get excited by likes and comments, which I'm not saying they're not important, but they're not as much of a key performance indicator as other things. In fact, they're not a key performance indicator really at all. Right? Not a revenue generating one anyway. They're a leading indicator, but they are not a revenue generating. See how I ran that all together. A revenue generating key performance indicator. Just not. They will give you a leading indication, but they're not the KPI themselves itself. Okay. So I'm gonna get ready to go now. I've got some stuff to edit. Earlier today, I not too long ago, actually, I ordered the new Pickle Witch from Jimmy John's, and so I'm gonna do a little review of that. Because if you know, you know, you know, I like pickles, right? And so I tried it, and so I will be editing and get that review up. And I've got emails and other things I really need to get caught up and do. So I'm gonna get ready to go now. But thank you for coming to my Tamira talk, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.